There are places in the world where time collects, like river mist quiet, wandering, and easy to miss, unless you listen with a softened heart. One such place was a small cottage at the end of a nearly untraveled path, a place the forest had lovingly wrapped its branches around. The windows glowed faintly at night, though no lanterns burned inside, and if you leaned close to the door, you might hear the faint sound of brushes sighing across canvas, the hush-hush of paint mixing with memory. This cottage belonged to Aurel, a gentle, solitary painter whose art few had ever seen. Aurel painted forgotten hours. That was the only way he could describe them. Not the painful memories people lose, or the ones crowded out by life. No, these were the quiet, unstated moments that slip by unnoticed. The feeling of warm light on your skin during a childhood afternoon. The hush before a snowfall. The heartbeat space between a deep breath and a sigh. When a forgotten hour drifted loose from someone's life, it found its way to him, settling gently in the folds of his mind. One evening, the air was thick with a near silence. Aurel sat before a blank canvas, eyes half closed, waiting. And then it came, a pale shimmer in his mind, carrying a faint hum of contentment. It was a pause in someone's day, when they had sat beside a window with no particular thought. Golden light had pooled on their hands. There was no worry, no obligation, just stillness. They hadn't remembered it, but the hour remembered them. Aurel whispered, "Welcome." He dipped his brush into soft amber and muted silver. The colors of warmth and time and began to paint. This was Aurel's life, a gentle recovery of the world's unnoticed beauty. His cottage was a sanctuary of moments the world had overlooked. But Aurel himself had a forgotten hour buried deep inside him, one he had never touched, never painted, never dared to approach. It lingered like a soft ache behind every breath he took. He did not yet know that this forgotten hour was near awakening. The next morning, a soft flutter disturbed the cool dawn air. A paper moth, delicate and pale, flapped unsteadily toward him. He extended his hand, and the little creature landed. On its thin wings were written tiny words. "A memory seeks you." The moth dissolved into dust, leaving behind the faint scent of old ink. Aurel understood. Something significant was approaching. He returned inside and prepared a fresh canvas, larger than the others. He could feel the memory circling him like a hesitant visitor. And then he felt it fully. It was the memory of someone standing on a cliff's edge at twilight. Their hands were cold. Their breath trembled in the fading light. But the hour wasn't painful, it was simply filled with something unspoken, something between longing and release. Aurel dipped his brush, but his hand paused. The forgotten hour. It felt familiar. Too familiar. He closed his eyes, tracing its shape. "No," he breathed. "This isn't someone else's memory. It was his own." He set down the brush slowly. He had spent years painting others' forgotten hours, but had never faced his own. He remembered now only fragments, but enough. It was the twilight hour after the last time he had seen Liora, the only person who had ever understood the way he saw moments. She had been a traveler, with a laugh like drifting leaves. One autumn, long ago, she had told him she would be leaving. Not forever, she had said, but time had stretched, and her absence had deepened. That twilight Aurel had stood on the cliff, waiting for her silhouette on the path. But she hadn't come. He had not remembered that hour consciously in years, but now it had returned, and it wanted to be painted. His hands trembled, but he reached again for his brush. This hour carried weight, but it also carried an unfinished promise. He touched the brush to the canvas. Soft violet for the twilight, muted rose for the lingering hope, a pale, trembling blue for the ache of waiting. Stroke by stroke, he let the hour unfold. As the painting formed, Aurel whispered, "Where did you wander, Liora?" The air in the room shifted, and I felt it, a presence approaching from far away. A ripple in the quiet, a forgotten hour returning home. That night, Aurel dreamed of a path lit by small lanterns. He walked slowly, and ahead of him, a figure shimmered like a reflection on water. He tried to call out, but the dream had no sound. Still, the figure turned, as though sensing him. He awoke with a soft inhale, murmuring, "It's beginning." He rose, and lit a candle. The painting of his own forgotten hour sat on the easel. Then he felt it again, another hour approaching. Not his, but connected to his. It washed over him like a warm current. An hour filled with quiet, unguarded laughter. "It's hers," he whispered. "Leora's forgotten hour." He dipped his brush and began to paint. The canvas brightened with amber strokes, tinged with gold. He could almost hear her laughter now, from an afternoon long ago when they had wandered the forest, when she told him each falling leaf carried a message. The memories stirred a longing not for the past, but for the presence that had shared it. He stepped back from the canvas and whispered, "Where are you now, Liora?" The air offered no answer, yet he felt movement, like the shifting of distant tides. That afternoon, a new sound joined the cottages. Quiet creaks, a faint rustle outside, like footsteps. Aurel, Frosse. The knock on the door was soft. Hesitant, he opened it slowly, and she stood there. Liora. Older. Yes, her hair brushed with early silver, but her eyes were the same, filled with quiet wonder. For a moment, they simply looked at each other in recognition, a recognition that belonged to the hours that had lived between them. "Hello, Aurel," she whispered. His answer rose only as a breath. "Welcome home." She stepped inside, her gaze drifting over the crowded canvases. "They found you," she murmured. "And mine?" she asked softly. Aurel motioned to the canvas, glowing with amber light. She approached it slowly, her breath catching. "That was—" "Yes." That day, I had forgotten how it felt. "Hours don't vanish," Aurel said gently. "They simply wander." Her eyes softened. "I didn't mean to stay away so long. Life carried me forward faster than I expected." He listened with the patience of a man who understood forgotten time. "You're here now," he said simply. "That's enough." Leora's gaze drifted to his own painted memory, the twilight on the cliff. "You were waiting for me," she whispered. Aurel did not look away. "Yes, and I wasn't there." His voice remained soft. "That hour stayed with me. It waited for you to return." She closed her eyes, her own shining with gratitude and sorrow. "Thank you," she said, "for keeping it." They shared tea in the quiet of the evening. Liora traced the rim of her cup. "I've been carrying a forgotten hour myself," she said. "The hour I left, the moment I turned away from this cottage. I thought it would fade, but it just lingered, like a weight I couldn't name." "You don't have to hide it anymore," Aurel said. "Sometimes, speaking an hour allows it to return to where it belongs." Liora nodded slowly. I think the hour wants to come home." Aurel stood and retrieved a blank canvas, setting it before her. "Then let it speak," he whispered. Liora hesitated. "I haven't painted in years." "You're not painting," Aurel assured her. "You're remembering." She dipped her fingers into soft blue pigment and pressed them onto the canvas. She painted a path leading away. Her silhouette turned slightly, as though caught between stepping forward and glancing back. Her strokes were not confident, but they were honest. When she finished, the canvas shimmered faintly. Aurel touched her hand lightly. "You've brought the hour home." Tears gathered in Leora's eyes, but she smiled. "It feels lighter now." Days passed in a rhythm as soft as falling leaves. Liora helped organize the cottage, creating space. Aurel continued painting, but now with a new stillness, inside him one shaped by quiet companionship. One morning, he felt an hour approaching, but this one was different. Stronger, brighter, new. He closed his eyes. It wasn't a forgotten hour. It was a former hour, one being shaped in this very moment. He looked up. Liora was standing in the doorway, watching him. "What is it?" she asked. "A new hour," he said, his voice warm. "From now." She stepped closer. "What does it feel like?" He met her gaze. "It feels like returning, like two currents joining after a long, gentle journey." The new hour settled into them, soft, luminous, peaceful. Aurel did not paint it. Some hours were meant to be lived, not captured. As the seasons turned, the cottage filled not only with reclaimed memories, but with new ones, shared ones, unlost ones. Aurel and Liora lived their hours with intention and ease, painting not only what had been forgotten, but what was being found again and again. He had once believed memories were fragile, but now he understood. Time does not abandon us. It only waits for us to return to it. Thank you for listening. If this story touched you, please like and subscribe for more tailies from the quiet corners of the world.